Morning. We just parked up in Wasdale. It's early doors. Stupid o'clock. You've seen how many cars were in the car park at Wasdale Head when we left it there. Well, it's only 5:45 in the morning. Saturday, 12th of July 2025. So it's just me today, no Tracy, she's at work, and no Rockstar. Two reasons: the route I've chose today and also the weather. We're in the middle of another heat wave. Yesterday's temperatures were the hottest so far this summer, and today's are going to be even hotter apparently, so I thought best to leave Billy at home. Also the route, we're heading up the Lord's Rake and the West Wall Traverse onto Scafell. A tough route, so full concentration required today. I'm almost certain Billy would manage this route, but in these conditions, this heat, I thought we'll give him a day off. Scafell's a fairly dry mountain, so it's going to be hot. The rock's going to be hot. The sun's going to be beating down on us by dinner time. That's why the early start, so we can get 2 or 3 hours in before it gets really hot. And then by this afternoon, I think them temperatures are going to get up to and over 30 degrees. I can personally handle them temperatures on the mountains. It's just a case of taking it easy really, and topping up with water, making sure you've got a filter with you. But to bring Billy along is becoming more stressful as he's getting older. Oh, I said last year, when things get really hot, it might be wiser just to give him a day off. If we're out camping and it's scorchy or hot, we would have just picked a smaller walk, you know, somewhere Billy would have been more suited. Yeah, the van camping videos you'll find will probably be a lot more relaxed. Short walks, more chilling, more eating, more drinking. Saying that, we've got some big plans as well. Myself, Billy and Tracy. I would like to keep going into Yorkshire this summer and then probably head back into Scotland when the midges have gone off later in the year. Head into Yorkshire this time of year and start bagging them Dales 30. Regarding Scotland, Bacaliated Moor, the big buckle, is still on my wanted list, so we might have to suffer them midges. Maybe go up there on a cooler weekend when there's a bit of wind about. But as you can see today down Wasdale, there is not a breath of wind. I can imagine Scotland would be absolutely engulfed with midge. We're currently heading into Gill, where we're going to bypass the nose of Lingmel, which is just up there. Carry on above the Gill to Brown Tongue. We'll turn off the path just before it heads up to Mickledore, and we'll go find Lord's Rake. Just to the left of me here is the path you'd take up the nose of Lingmel. We'll head through this gate a group of guys have just left open and head into the Gill. And there you have the magnificent Scafells straight ahead of me. the information signs giving you the directions to Scafell Pike, as this path is also the Hollow Stones route onto Scafell Pike. So a little later in the morning this path is going to be absolutely rammed. So hopefully we'll be somewhere right of it up there by then. Shout out to Adam, I just met him coming down off the hill. Yep, coming down at this time of day. He had his 2 dogs with him, so he took the sensible option of going up ridiculously early. 3 AM he set off. Adam watches the channel, so thanks mate, very much appreciated. You take care. A little further up here is where the route's going to break off for us, where this path will continue to Scafell Pike. We'll be taking a path to our right, where we're going to head up below Black Crag, which is this crag here with the sun shining on it. Lord's Rake is just behind the back of Black Crag there. That's Mickledore. Scafell Pike straight ahead of me. There's the path to Scafell Pike. There's the path to Mickledore, the Lord's Rake and Scafell, the one we're going to take. Just look at that light on Black Crag. What a day. Just a little further up this path towards Mickledore, we're going to find another short traverse path turning right. It's not marked on the OS map, it is marked on some maps, but it's a short traverse that leads you to the bottom of the Lord's Rake. You can continue up Mickledore if you decided at this point you didn't want to do the Lord's Rake. You've got to bear in mind, if you head into Mickledore, if you're wanting to do Scafell, you're going to have to drop back down the other side of Mickledore and then back up Fox's Gully to Fox's Tarn to reach the summit of Scafell. There's no other way from that direction other than climbing country. Broad stand, which I mentioned in my last Scafell video. No way does a walker want to be on broad stand. What an incredible place. To our far left we've got Lingmel, Scafell Pike, Mickledore, and the route into the Lord's Rake to eventually Scafell. There's a big cairn here. We're going to more or less turn right here. And head up that scree to the Lord's Rake. Just here you'll find a very faint path. There you go. That cairn we just left is about 700 metres up the mountain. Time to get these sticks in the bag and put myself into a lower sense of gravity. Keep that body low to the ground, get your hands in among it, try and keep your feet on the big blocks. You've less chance of sending anything down behind you. And just take your time. We're about to approach the Lord's Rake now. And here you have it. It's a steep one. The route up is by whichever side you feel most confident on. I see a lot of folks starting on the left and then heading over to the right, but I'm just going to take it as it comes. I prefer to look for the big stones rather than scratching about in among the small stuff where you've got a much bigger chance of sending anything down on top of anybody coming up. So I'm just heading over to the right hand side. Nice and easy. Use your hands as much as you can. A little higher up here, just past the big chock stone, we're going to leave the Lord's Rake and we're going to head left onto the west wall traverse. Just here. about 50 yards or so up the traverse as we approach Deep Gill. You'll start noticing the exposure down there to my left. Just be careful, you don't want to be taking a tumble over there. Just approaching Deep Gill now. Wow, look at that. That's the Hollow Stones path we left earlier. I've seen a massive amount of people coming down off Scafell Pike doing the 3 peak challenge, so good luck to all you guys. It's probably advisable, if you were doing the Lord's Rake later in the day, to wear a hard hat and helmet. I don't possess an helmet, so it's one of the reasons I came early, so hopefully there'd be no one above me to send any rocks down. Regarding coming down the Lord's Rake, I would say definitely not. Don't attempt to descend the west wall traverse, and definitely don't, in my opinion, descend the Lord's Rake, because the chances are you're going to send a rock fall down. You don't want to do that. Helmets are totally optional. It's entirely up to the individual. If I take a rock to the head, it's unlucky, you know, but if I send a rock down there and it hits someone else, then I'd feel real bad about that. And so, your choice. Maybe I should get a helmet. Bearing in mind some of the things I've done over the years, maybe I should invest in a helmet. This is Deep Gill. The lower section down there is a rock climb, it's impossible to get up, but the higher section after the west wall traverse is walking ground or scrambling ground. Going to take us to the summit of Scafell. If you hear anyone below you, give them a shout, let them know you're there. You know, any sensible climber or walker would give you a bit of time to get up in front of them, you know, to make it better for them. If there'd been anyone in front of me, I certainly wouldn't have been on the rake. I would have sat myself down there somewhere and waited 20 minutes until I knew they were above us and well above us. There's an unavoidable big block in the middle of Deep Gill here. We're gonna climb round the right hand side of it. There's a bit scree on the left hand side, so not much to grab hold of. We've got a couple of handholds there and some very good footholds. This side it's all mossy, so I think that's the only obstacle in the Gill. The Gill looks very much like the Lord's Rake, but a narrower version. That's it, we passed it. There's another one here, but not quite as difficult. not far from the top now. The gully will pop out just below the nut-all summit of Simmons Knot, and then Scafell's just above that. What a route! Very knotted at the top, and also a little bit wet. Get them fingers into the rock. Your hands, in my opinion, are more important than your feet. And we're coming out into the sunshine. There's Simmons Knot behind me. There you go. Cairn at the very top. That is one route you would not want to go down. It's very imposing from the top. I can't imagine anyone would ever go down there, even by mistake. There's Scafell, straight ahead of us. These cairns and the route down to the left of us here take you down to Fox's Tarn, then back up to Mickledore and Scafell Pike. It's the only safe way from here to Scafell Pike. As I said earlier, if you went that way straight off the end, you'd hit Broad Stand and end up in serious trouble. Follow the cairns up to the summit of Scafell. I just met Simon below the summit of Scafell. He's been up here while camping, and we had a bit chat about the Lord's Rake and West Waltz Reverse. He came up it last night. He absolutely loved it. Said he was a good friend of the solo summit here. If you've not seen his videos on YouTube, definitely worth a look. Very, very good. Solo summit here. A shout out to you too. Brilliant. Well, we're not far off Scafell now. Regarding the route, I'm giving it a 10 out of 10. Absolutely fantastic route. So how hard do I think it is? Technically, I didn't really think it was difficult. Exposure was quite bad. If you don't like exposure, it could be terrifying. In fact, it's everybody's different, aren't they? The Lord's Rake itself didn't offer me any issues. because like I say, I took it nice and easy, so there was no scree going down and no slipping backwards. The traverse I found absolutely incredible. And then deep Gill, a little bit tricky. There was a couple of blocks to climb over. I wouldn't bring Billy, in all honesty. You know, the top of deep Gill was a little bit tricky. I know he'd get up it, but it was a little bit slippy at the top there, and certainly not on a hot day like this. The summit of Scafell, 964 metres. It's a Wainwright, a Burkitt, a Hewitt, a Nuttall and a Hump. There's Burnmoor Tarn below us, Waswater. We're going to head down here somewhere, the Greenhow route, Kettle Cove, the other side of Greenhow. The ridge between Waswater and Burnmoor Tarn is Ilgillhead and Winrig, just there. See Sellafield in the distance, and the Isle of Man. Black Combe to my left. A beautifully made cairn there, keeping us on track. So that's my route there behind me now. It's a steep plod down off the summit. It's dropped me down about 400 metres. Rock, boulders, a little bit of scree, and now all grass. Just take it easy. A nice quiet route. I've not seen a single person on this side of the hill. That's Hard Rig, that ridge there, Hard Rig Gill, Burnmoor Tarn. We're going to head for that ridge, Hard Rig, and then so far down that ridge, rather than going to the tarn, we're going to take a shortcut and head towards Wastwater and then back to Wasdale. I'm just passing a very, very old looking cairn or shelter of some kind. Could be a fox trap, but it's right at the very top of Hard Rig Gill, which is down there, and that's Hard Rig, so it's a good landmark. It's not on the map, so we're going to head over here in this boggy marshy stuff and find that path on that ridge. Here we are, we found a very faint sketchy path, but it's a lot nicer than the ground either side, which is very wet. It's all manageable, but it's nice to find this path. Wainwright speaks of other paths coming down this side of the mountain, but to be honest, they all appear to be a bit sketchy from the top. Probably easier to find from Wasdale Head going up, although I'm not sure I'd want to go up that lot, but I did just come down it and it wasn't that bad. Drop off the end of this ridge, Hard Rig, and in the bottom there you'll see Hard Rig Gill. If you wanted a bit of refreshment, you could drop down there, you could even drop to the tarn, but just somewhere down there before we get to the Gill, the beck, we're going to take a sharp right and head back through that gap in the direction of Wastwater. As you can see, it's about 50 yards from the Gill, so I'm going for that refreshment stop. I'd say it's touching 30 degrees now, so you know what I might have to do. Oh, look at this. We've got a tiny piece of heaven, guys. Oh, could you ask for anything more on a scorchio day when you've just come down off Scafell? Oh, once again we're in heaven. It's not very deep, but it's absolutely gorgeous. Ooh. Oh. Let's go for the jacuzzi. Oh, lovely! Wow. get much better than that, does it? Do you ever get in that moment when you think to yourself, all of a sudden, you think to yourself, how did I ever get here? How did I get to this point right now where I'm at? And how nice it is. A bit like one of them kind of moments. I wasn't expecting this beautiful clear beck. I didn't really know it was here because I've never really been over this part of the hill. Well, not for a long time. I've been down to Burntmoor Tarn, but I've never been up this gill. So the path wasn't down there by the gill. We've had to come back up on ourselves to find this bracken path, which was a little bit difficult, but we've actually found it. I think this is it, running through the bracken here. Certainly looks like this is it on the map. Yeah, this is it. So was it worth dropping down there? Absolutely. If I'd realised the path was up here, I might not have even dropped down, but I'm really pleased I did. This one certainly doesn't get walked very much. It's clearly marked on the map though. It's going to go slightly up and round that shoulder. I got mesmerised by the magical pools. Drew me away from the path. This route's so quiet, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm on the Scafells, middle of summer. Wasdale Head is absolutely rammed with people. The road in was absolutely rammed this morning, you know, with campers and people parked up already on the lake at 5:30. But up here, this side of the mountain, there's absolutely no one. Them pools, I've never seen a soul. I think I can see about 3 or 4 people at Burntmoor Tarn. I'll put you a grid reference on marking this path because it really was a tough one to find, and as you can see, either side of it is just thick with bracken, so we wouldn't have got up here. We probably would have had to go down to the tarn and find that path. So if you're looking at the GPS now, the path is to my right, what looks about 50-60 yards. But as you can see, the path I'm on couldn't be any more clear, and this one's not on the map. So take your pick really. Either follow my blue line away from the path on the map, or try and find the other path over there. This one joins up with the main path from the tarn. I think it's an old Victorian path of some description, I can't really remember now. So from here we've got a couple of easy miles all the way back into Wasdale Head. I'm going to have to get some chemicals on. The horseflies are absolutely rife. Horseflies and clegs. I've had a couple of cleg bites, thankfully no horsefly bites yet, but we're going to get a jungle formula on. Keep some in your bag. Absolutely brilliant for horseflies and clegs. Works on the midge too. There's the lake, and we're just dropping onto another path here. Couple of old dwellings, probably barns or farm buildings. Wow, that temperature's well up there now. It's got to be well into the 30s, 100 Fahrenheit. It is hot. Hottest day so far this year. It's even hotter than it was when we were in Glencoe. And that's the reason I get up in the middle of the night. It's only dinner time. So we're just approaching Bracken Close campsite, so I'm going to wrap the video up here. In total, by the time we get back to the car, we'll be on about 7.5 miles, so it's a relatively short route, but a tough hard one. It's took us a good few hours, but what a sensational walk. One of the best there. There's the Scafells behind me. Wow. I'd like to thank you for watching, thank you for subscribing. If you're new to the channel, please think about giving me a subscribe, and I'll see you all next time with the Rockstar. As always, at the end of the video I'll put a 3D flyover in for you of the track, and I'll put the GPX files of the route in the description. Heading out of Wasdale Head, we took the Lingmel Gill route. Passing the nose of Lingmel, we dropped into Brown Tongue onto the Hollowstones route. We passed by the Hollowstones route to Scafell and head towards Mickledore. Just before Mickledore we took a right and head up into the Lord's Rake, the West Wall Traverse, Deep Gill, and then eventually to the summit of Scafell, and then down the ridge between Hard Rig and Kettle Cove, and down to Hard Rig Gill for a bit of refreshment. Backtracking from the Gill, we found the Bracken Path back to Fence Wood, Wasdale Head Farm, and eventually Bracken Close campsite, and back to the car.